All right, this segment of our program brought to you by El Chico. Wednesday is Cinco de Mayo, and there's no better place to celebrate Cinco de Mayo than El Chico because it rhymes and also because it's the best Tex-Mex offerings you'll find anywhere in East Tennessee. They've been doling them out there since the late 80s at El Chico. That's off the Merchants Drive exit in North Knoxville. East Tennessee's most unique Tex-Mex menu, I promise you. So get out there for a lunch or dinner on Wednesday or anytime this week. Celebrate Fourtho de Mayo, Quattro de Mayo, I guess it would be, if you wish. El Chico, though, you can go out there anytime this week. You can go out there this weekend. You can go out there today, for that matter. El Chico off Cedar Lane. All right. Little Vol hoops very quickly. In their way too early top 25, ESPN moved the Vols from unranked to number 16 this week. Analyst Jeff Borzello said he likes the way their roster is shaping up. Meanwhile, Seth Davis of The Athletic was asked if UT would be better or worse this season. His answer, quote, "I'd say the Vols will be about the same, for better or worse. If you're a Vols fan, you've got reason to be optimistic. But after last season, it would be wise to keep your expectations reasonable." I think that's fair. And then the last nugget, we didn't have time to talk about it with the spring game last Sunday, but John Fulkerson was asked point blank by our Jimmy Himes, the sports animal, did you have COVID? Which I think everyone suspected, and they never said it. And he said, yes, he did have it. I think that explains a whole lot about his year. And he said it had a huge impact on the team as well, and he's expecting to get back to a more normal year this year.
Yeah.
Take all that into account. Where are you guys? If I asked you, will Tennessee be better or worse next season, or about the same? Where are you going with Tennessee basketball, Vince?
I'd say a little bit better. I think I have a little bit of what Seth Davis was talking about, and a little bit of pause and maybe getting too excited. But the structure of this team, addressing a lot of the areas that they needed improvement on, like the point guard play, the perimeter shooting, three-point shooting, post play, and potential of an offensive game with Brandon Huntley Hatfield was, I think, got the best face-up post game that we've seen since Grant Williams, and I think the role that Fulkerson in coming back will play, I think, will be more to his comfort level. So yeah, I think I'm a little bit more encouraged by the structure of this team, but not going to go way over the top like we kind of did with last year's team.
Right, a little bit better, and I think it's going to help getting some more fans in the stands. I think everything that you've said is true, and I also think you should be, the players that went through it, and even some of the ones coming in, should be very motivated about how the season ended, and totally unacceptable to get beat that way. I mean, you can lose games. But an NCAA tournament game where it's a no contest, then no, that's not acceptable. And that's what ought to be your motivation, at least be a little bit better this coming season.
Yeah, I say better as well. I like the roster better. I like Kennedy Chandler coming in. We've talked about all these things, from the flexibility of the roster, the makeup of it, and then the ability to develop through the offseason and then during the season. What you just said, John, about what John Fulkerson and some of his teammates had to deal with, should not be an issue next year, right? So that should give you a better opportunity from start to finish to improve, as you would typically expect Rick Barnes teams to.
Yeah, and I've said that 3 or 4 times since last season ended. I give a little bit of a break, small break, to Rick Barnes last season, because typically in a non-COVID year, when he's got everything clicking in his own, you see guys improve from year to year. I didn't see any guys last year that I went, oh, he's better than he was last year. And I've got to, because that hasn't been the case before, I've got to put some of that on the COVID and the fact that they couldn't practice and couldn't bond and couldn't do the things they normally do last year. So if that stands to reason, then, that if you're getting back to more of a normal schedule, I would expect guys to improve from last year to this year. Man, I'm not talking about John Fulkerson goes the first-round draft pick, but I'm talking about taking a step forward from what you saw last year. I think a lot of those guys will show some improvement that we didn't see last year.
Well, Rick Barnes was talking about how, a lot of guys had really been practicing well in the spring. He said we didn't have that last year, especially when you're talking about 2 freshmen they relied on so much and they didn't have that time to develop. And then the Rick Barnes track record of developing players, those things take time. They're not just snap your finger and these guys suddenly can shoot and have an advanced offensive game, whether it was Williams or Schofield or Punter, all those guys, it took some time. And not having a spring last year and the COVID took time away.
Wouldn't you love to have one more piece to the puzzle fall in your lap? You've got 2 scholarships open. You're probably going to leave it that way, but wouldn't it be awesome if just that one
more big man would have been nice.
Yeah.
One more veteran big man would have been nice if that could have happened. But instead, the veteran big man they looked at decided to go to Auburn. So, all right, we will see you right back here next Sunday for the Sports Source. Get out and check out our sponsors this week. You always do, and I appreciate it. But the more you do business with them, the more they do business with me. And we'll be here for a long time. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.